you told him that you were gonna ask Mom to marry you? What Grandpa say to you?
He just had Sipta do the questioning.
Oh yeah,
and I can't remember the questionings at all.
But he just sat back and just said fine.
He wasn't even there. Sipta and I were sitting at the kitchen table.
Yeah, but you had to ask my dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did, but he didn't say anything there. That didn't. Sipta finally gave the final word on it. And then after that, I had Florence and I went to Utica. But previous to that, I asked Louis that I wanted to go to Utica, and he wanted to know why. I said, I just want to go to Utica.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He said he didn't have time or something or other. And so Florence and I went up, and we went up to Klein's. Julie stood up there.
You went by bus.
I don't know how we went.
Yeah, you went by bus.
That. All I remember is that Florence was running to try to keep up and run across the street.
Yeah, you went by bus. That was the only way you could get there. There wasn't anybody else.
Well, whatever, anyhow. So that when I had it, and somebody made the remark to you that it was a real small ring and all that, and you said you didn't care for long you got it.
Probably.
That's all that mattered. So where were you guys when he asked you to marry you?
Grandma's living room.
Were you alone or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And he gave me the ring, and then I can't remember how Jay and Florence and my cousin June got in at it. They might have been out.
But they all knew because Aunt Florence knew, right?
And apparently they had an inkling. I
don't know if Florence told them or not, to tell you the truth.
I don't remember.
But they had figured it all out. And somebody told me to give it to her on Christmas. I said, no, this is a different day. This is not Christmas Day.
Yeah, right.
This is for she and I. And not to say you're giving her a Christmas gift. If I can't give a Christmas gift, then you go fry eggs.
Yeah,
we should backtrack a little bit.
Right.
Grandma Sophie wasn't happy when Dad was dating me either. She didn't want another Lebanese in her family because Aunt Lucy was Lebanese. She never gave a reason, but she just said that she just really didn't think she wanted another Lebanese in the family. But I proved to Grandma Sophie that I was a loving and greater person, and she loved, and she used to go to our house where she wouldn't go to the other daughter-in-law's houses. She always came to Bath, as you well know.
Yeah, right.
And she felt very comfortable with us and was always welcomed in our house. And of course, when I was ill, she came and stayed with us for 4 weeks to help take care of you kids, because you were just a baby when I had the major surgery.
Yeah.
Not a baby, you were probably 3. Mike, I think, had started kindergarten, because I can remember getting up in the morning and taking care of, helping Mike get ready for school. So Grandma Sophie did not want another Lebanese in the family.
Well, she told me it's your choice. We never really discussed it and say, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. No, she just says, it's your life, you make your choice.
So after that, then you got engaged and married the following August, right?
Yeah.
August of 47.
Yeah. August 2nd of 47. And where was the wedding?
St. Malachy's Church in Sherburne.
Right. And the reception
was up on the mountaintop where the golf course is.
The golf course, country club.
Country club, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, there was a building there.
Yeah. We had about 400 people there.
400.
We had it, yes. Well, at that time, they used to invite families. It wasn't just husbands and wives. You invited a family. And the Lebanese tradition was that Grandma and Grandpa had to go to the homes of the elderly people and invite them first. They had to go to Utica and invite all the relatives personally. You did not send them an invitation, and to the elders that were close to the family. And that was all done. And they used to say they almost had to give their approval, but they got kind of away from that. It was just that they went and told them, our daughter's going to be married. We would love to have you, you know, and so forth and so on, to attend the wedding. And they had to do that to I don't know how many families. That was the tradition.
Wow. Hold on. 400 people?
Yeah.
Who were your, the attendants? Who stood up with you, Mom?
Aunt Florence was my maid of honor. Aunt Helen was my matron of honor. My cousin Sue Bohanna was a bridesmaid. My cousin June Lewis was a bridesmaid, and Aunt Jay was a bridesmaid.
And Dad on your side?
He was Chester was the Stapero was the best man, wasn't he? No, or was it Shine?
Shine was the best man.
Who?
Shine. Shine Viviano.
Viviano. He was Louis, my brother Louis' brother-in-law.
Was he a friend of yours?
And not really. It's just that
So why did you pick him?
Louis suggested I pick him and Joe. His name was George.
Joe. Joe.
No, Joe, but what was Shine's name?
I don't know. We only knew him as Shine.
Right.
Why didn't you pick your friend? Why?
Well,
why
He
we
didn't.
did.
pick your friend?
I had the Vivianos. For one thing, they were practicing Catholics, and that was one of the reasons.
Is that a requirement?
Oh yeah,
The best man, I don't know.
it had to.
So they had to be practicing Catholic.
Yeah, and so then we had Chester Stapera and Roy Baker.
Mm-hmm.
But Roy Baker was really the closest friend I had, because Roy and I used to walk to school together and all that bit. He would walk around to my house, and we'd walk to school, and the next morning I'd turn around and go to his house, which was on Classic Street, which is the back street there.
Yeah, right.
And then we would walk to school that way.
Yeah, right. That was in Sherburne.
Yeah.
But at this time, you're working at the VA, right?
Right. But just to give you the background on Roy, that he was the closest friend I ever had in Sherburne.
Uh-huh.
And but then when we moved to Bath, I was already there, but your mother was not there. And
Where did you live?
the thing of it.
You don't remember?
Oh yeah.
Where?
Bundy Avenue.
Well, we had a room on.
No, he's talking about, you're talking when Dad was single? And
Yeah, when he was. Yeah,
he
when you were
lived on
single.
Bundy Avenue.
Well,
And
yeah, it was on Bundy Ave.
What was the address?
And that was at
10
at
Bundy
Ave. But because we were on talking about the marriage bit.
Yeah.
Well, the marriage is that the room we had was on Howell Street, was next to the cemetery on the corner of Howell and West Duben.
it was across from the Baptist Church.
Yeah. And we were
Yeah, I can't picture
we were
the house
looking
right now.
Can't picture that.
we were looking to find something. I couldn't find it. I had been looking for about 6 months or more,
Right.
trying to find it, but the apartments were just out of sight
Yeah.
for the salary that I was making.
Uh-huh.
And so we still didn't have anything when we got off our honeymoon.
Uh-huh.
So we had this room that we had, and so we met, we had gone down to Cochran at 10 Bundy Ave to visit, and
You wanted to introduce me to Mrs. Cochran where you had lived.
yeah, and it just happenstance that Wendell and Mildred were there,
Millers.
you know, and we told them our predicament, and so they says, well, where we're staying, they have an apartment upstairs that's empty. Says that if you check with the gays, maybe they can find a,
Yeah,
they would allow you to have that apartment. So we went up there at about 5 minutes to 7, and so Elwin Gay says that, well, we already promised to another couple, and they're supposed to be here at 7 to say yes or no. So he says, if you want to wait, we'll find out. And if we do not hear by 7 o'clock, the apartment is yours. So we hung around there, and then the minute it was 7 o'clock, he says, the apartment is yours.
Oh, that was good.
We paid the rent, and we were there. So the Millers were downstairs, and we were upstairs.
So let's back up to your wedding day. What kind of a band did you guys have? You know, what did you dance to?
I can't remember what we did have for music.
I don't know.
No, I can't think.
You don't
I'd have to
remember
think.
your first dance? You know, there's always a special
They
song.
didn't
Wow,
do
they
that.
did.
You think
Oh,
they
they
did
did that
that
back
at the
then?
time? I can't remember who we did have for music. And see, we don't have wedding albums. We have
There was no
just
such thing as
few snapshots is all. And I can't remember.
What'd you have for dinner that day?
We had a buffet. And my mother and Grandma Sophie, all the bridesmaids
Yeah,
worked
got
at Grandma's
together.
and made all the food for all the people.
For 400 people.
For 400 people. And it was salads and cold cuts, and there was no Lebanese food. We had a cake, because Uncle Buddy and Aunt Dolly brought the cake from Utica, and it was so hot, top part of the layer started to slide off in the car, and somehow they got somebody to mend it at the reception. See how primitive things were?
Oh, it was hot. You're right. Yeah, it
And
was hot.
were you sitting with us when Katie told us the other day, you know, she had tried my wedding gown on one
Yeah,
time, and
yeah.
she's good, she wants to wear it.
Yeah.
I thought she'd forgotten all about it. She told me then, Grandma's going to wear that wedding gown.
I hope so. So where did you go on your honeymoon?
New York City,
Where
10
did you
days.
stay?
Taft,
At
Hotel
Taft.
Taft.
Yeah, and we took the train.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
you
had
did?
no car.
All the way down?
All the
Oh,
way
yeah.
down. They took us to Utica.
Frank
Florence
and
and
Lucy.
Chet. No,
No,
Frank and
Lucy.
Lucy. Yeah, took us to Utica. And we took the train, and then we came back. Then we were there 10 days, and somebody must... No, we took the bus back out of Utica. I remember getting off the bus with our luggage in front of the store, in front of Sabres. And I remember I had to iron your father's shirts, and Aunt Florence used to always iron your dad's shirts. And I can remember ironing at my mother's, because we stayed a few days at Grandma's. And I remember I starched them so stiff the arms were out. Like this.
But it looked nice though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the first meal that you prepared for him at home?
I don't remember the first meal I prepared, but it must have been very close because it was the fair. And so it had to be pretty close within the first week.
Yeah.
And the Scrockies were dating, and we were going together to go to the fair.
Yeah.
And I can remember hearing your dad say to Kat, she fixed hot dogs and creamed potatoes. She's a pretty good cook.
So that must have made you feel good.
Yeah, that made me feel great.
That you made hot dogs.
Hey, after some of the garbage I had in the service.
Yeah, I'm sure. So what'd you do in New York when you were there?
Oklahoma. Of course, we went to St. Patrick's Cathedral. And we ate at all the famous restaurants we could find. What else did we say? We walked, of course, Times Square, the park. Oh,
Just all the city
I
stuff.
can't-
Yeah.
shopped,
Yeah.
Went up and down Fifth
wrangled,
Avenue.
Yeah.
you know, you bickered with the guys. We bought Grandma those little cups that you probably remember. Grandma
Yeah.
Sophie and Grandma Mody each had them. I can remember we argued over the price on those. I don't know how we carried them home, but we did. Got them each set of that. But gifts for our attendants. Trying to think what we bought our attendants then, because you didn't give them a gift before the wedding. You brought them something.
Yeah.
I brought necklaces, and I don't remember what you got the guys. Guess we didn't take enough vitamin E today.
Well, that's all right. You know, I'm just trying to get a sense of what you did. So then you wind up back in Bath, and you're working at the VA. And where were you working there?
They call it human resources today. That back in my day was personnel department, where
Right.
you hired and fired.
Right.
And I started out as the appointment clerk, and you had to do all the necessary forms on these people.
Uh-huh.
And you also had to have give them the oath of office.
Uh-huh.
And that's where you solemnly swear, etc., etc., etc.
How much were you making back then?
1704 a year gross.
$1,700 a year?
I don't think. I think you made more than that.
Not to start with. I know what I started with.
When we got
And they
married,
took-
you were making more than that.
No,
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
because I was only there in May of 46.
So you're making about what's that? About 125 a month.
About there.
You know, $10 a day basically.
About. And 3.5% had to go for,
Yeah, you know, $1 an
Retirement.
hour.
and then we had to have whatever income tax that we had to pay at that time.
Health benefits.
And then we also had to pay for our benefits that we were involved with.
How much was your rent and all that?
I don't know what it was now.
I'm going to say it was $40 a week, but I can't swear to it. I have forgotten that.
It'd be about 40 per month. 40 a week's a lot.
40, probably was 40 a month. That was more like not a week.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
about a
I was
week's
so-
pay.
Yeah,
Which is
40 a
about
month.
So so take me through that first year. You got pregnant with
I worked
with
in
Carol,
a
right?
downtown beauty shop, downtown in Bath, for, well, about probably 6.5 months, and the doctor said I had to quit. And then I didn't work after that. I had your kids.
Yeah.
And then work at hairdressing then. As for, just never went back to it. Carol came first, and then, of course, Al.
And what day was she born?
Carol was born.
May 5, 1948 at 3:45 in the afternoon.
So she was born almost exactly 9 months after.
Few days,
You were
few
married.
days after 9 months, right. And then Al was born July 23rd, 1949.
So that was about a year later. You guys were still
14 months. We
at
had
Howell
then
Street.
moved into a different apartment.
Right.
Al was born on Howell Street. We went back to Howell Street.
What was the address there?
I want to say 16.
16 Howell.
I think so.
And where
Next to the Baptist church.
It was right next.
and where were you living when Carol was born?
Carol, we're still on East Moore Street.
36 East Moore.
Oh, you were right up the
Yeah.
street from the.
And
Upstairs
it's no
apartment.
longer there. That's where O'Malley Hall is situated.
Oh, I didn't know that you. So that was your first apartment was 36 East Moore Street, and then you guys moved prior to Al being born.
To Howell Street.
Right.
And then when we were in Howell Street, we decided to look for a house And we bought on 134 East Washington Street. 143. 143.
You bought the house?
Yes.
We bought the house. It was a duplex right on the corner of East Washington and Campbell.
Yeah.
And Carlo was born there and Michael was born there. We were there 5 years.
How much was that house?
I think that was $5,000 when we bought that, was
7,800.
No, East Morris Street was 78.
No.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
It was. How did you save up all the money to buy that house?
We had $1,000 from my military.
Uh-huh.
We had that, and we.
You had some bonds. You
Yeah.
had some bonds.
Yeah.
And we cashed those, and then we borrowed from the bank. And
Yeah.
I want to say our payment was $40-some a month on the loan that we got through Tom Slimy, wasn't it? Yes. And we
Yeah.
were there in that house 5 years, and then we bought, the house wasn't large enough for us anymore,
Uh-huh.
and we moved to East Moore Street. And at the time we didn't know that I had just become pregnant with you.
Right.
And so you were born on East Moore Street, and we were there 35 years.
All right,
You
so
were born.
we went from Al, and then what was Carlo's birthday?
Carlo's birthday was February 15th, 1951.
51.
And then between Carlo and Mike, wasn't there?
I had a miscarriage between Carlo and Mike.
How far along were you
I
at that point?
was, I guess, close to 3 months.
Okay.
And when I miscarried.
Oh.
And then Michael was born February 10th, 1954.
Right.
And then, of course, your birthday,
Right.
April 20th,
Uh-huh.
1956. And then 2 years after that, I had another miscarriage, but I was 4 months or better
Oh.
then pregnant.
Okay, so what did you wind up paying for 20?
I'd say
East Morris.
7,500 or 78, and I can't remember now. I don't remember. We had enough down payment to make a down payment on that house, and the lady where we rented, who was our second landlord on East Morris Street, when we had the apartment, was Mrs. Stern, Mrs. Kennedy, and he passed away, and she had, what was the name of the car?
The Hudson.
The Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember
she
that.
was going to sell it, and we had,
She wanted 500.
yeah, and we had 400, was it?
Yep.
And I offered it to her, and she took it. And we had that left over from the house, because we knew we needed to have a car. We were
Right.
having our 5th child, and we needed a car.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how long we had that car. Do you remember before
No.
we had changed it? And your father didn't know how to drive then. Don Howe had to teach Dad to drive.
Yeah.
And Don Howe used to take Dad out every day and taught him to drive. You took driver ed for a short time, right?
Oh, yeah, Cromer was the driver ed teacher, and he thought all he had to do was take us, and it would be, and that would be it. And so we only had half a course,
Uh-huh.
and he had spread it out the whole time, whereas he should have had 2 courses, and he had the mistaken impression that he would have us for the whole period. And so all we had was just half a course on it. We didn't have hardly any of the driving. We had the theory, and he was taking us out on short runs here and there, but we didn't really have enough under our belt. And so then I finished up with Don.
At what age were you then? 40-some? You had to be.
I was old then.
Well, you were 39 when I was born, right?
Sure.
And so you must have been about 40,
Yeah.
44 probably when he
Yeah.
got his driver's license.
What year was that? Was that Hudson?
It was the 51.
51 Hudson. So what was life with five little kids running around?
Hectic.
Hectic?
I had somebody who was going to put their head in the oven.
Who was that?
I used to try. I put my head in the oven. It was hectic. It was fun. It was rewarding. And I wouldn't have traded it for the world. And I'd do it all over again if I had the chance. But I think I've run out.
I'd have to think about it.
And we struggled financially, very much so. But we learned to live on a budget. We know that we did not do a lot for you kids that we realize now that we wished we had done. And
Well,
the line, the
it
material
just wasn't
thing,
there, and that was it.
the money wasn't there, and we look back now and wish that in some ways we had done things differently.
Uh-huh. Like what?
She was a good partner. Whenever I was down, she'd pick me up.
Yeah.
Wished I had more time to give more attention to you kids. I used to think sometimes, did we deserve all these kids? We don't have the time to give to them. We don't have the money to give to them.
What did you think that we were lacking?
I wondered if you lacked in love. I knew you never went hungry, but I knew that you didn't have the fancy cookies or you didn't have the ice cream at school. I think once a week we let you buy ice cream at school.
Yeah, that's right.
And you didn't have the nicer clothes. You were always clean. Your clothes were clean, but we couldn't afford to buy you the nicer clothes. And you didn't have a lot of clothes, but I kept up the laundry so you never wore anything dirty.
Yeah.
We had a house that was comfortable, but it wasn't especially beautiful.
I don't think that we lacked anything.
But you had two pair of shoes, one for stuff, one for dress, and one for something around.
And you did have Sunday clothes that you wore just to church, and you had, when you came home from school, because we were on such a limited budget, you would have to change your school clothes so that we could keep it in good condition, and you would have play clothes. I always felt
If I found the I could say, I need shift